Well, there it is, folks. The rarest of the Eisenhower dollars ever, the 1973 D. They only made 2 million of them. Now, it's the rarest only by a bit, of course, because they made 2 million of the 1973 Ds, and they made 2 million and 56 of the 1973 Phillies. So this is the Philadelphia one, of course, here. There's no, you can see that there's no mint mark there. And this is where the mint mark would be, like right under here. It's a real tiny thing. It's the same mint mark they use on the other coins. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'll show you in a second. So there's the D on this one. So look at that, little tiny D. This is the Eisenhower dollar. They made it from 1971 until 1978. But in 1978, they only made 2 million of the Denvers, and they only made 2,056,000 of the Phillies with no mint mark. And this Denver one is worth $6 to $10 every day, uncirculated. So if you can find the uncirculated set from 1973, just the halves alone are going to be worth $11 or $12. There was a proof coin, in 1973 S, but that's only worth a little tiny bit more, $6 or $7 uncirculated, and of course it goes up. Now, when I say that they use the same mint mark, what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at the other Denvers. Look at that. See this mint mark here? See, it kind of centers right in the. This is a 1973 Denver quarter coin, of course, and there's the D there. And the Denver coins, the Ds were kind of muddy that year, but if you notice when you look at the two of these, this is the same size as this. So even though this is on a quarter and this is on a $half, the actual mint mark is the same size. There you go there, same size on the nickel. So it looks a little bit smaller on the quarter and bigger on the nickel. And now, look at this one. Same size on the dime, and it begins to get bigger there, you know, in terms of relationship. Same size on the penny, but this is a different strike on here. You can definitely tell the difference in the strike there. And then on the $half, same thing. And you remember the $half from 1973 is down here under the neck of Kennedy, and there's a Gilroy Roberts. All right, let's talk a little bit about this coin that they only made for 8 years. It says Liberty on the top, Dwight D. Eisenhower, President Dwight D. Eisenhower facing to the left, In God We Trust under his chin. Right here you can see the D for the Denver mint mark. If we flip this over, we see the eagle landing on the moon. It says United States of America at the top, and these are, why is it in plastic? Well, this is an uncirculated mint set. It has the Philadelphia, which is the plain, and it has the Denver in it. The uncirculated mint sets for 1973 are relatively hard to find, in part because people want to get those, want to get these dollars out. So here's the eagle. There's the United States on the globe. So this is the world. The eagle's landing on the moon. He looks back. You look over the eagle's right shoulder and you see the earth. And of course there is an outsized United States there. And one of the ways you can tell the different types of these is you count the islands. So the islands go to the left of Florida, the right of Florida, and how many you can see. And right there is the Florida Peninsula there. There's a star. See these stars? You actually don't really see them so well on this coin, but when you start looking, you see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, there's 13 for the original 13 colonies. There's also 13 for the Apollo 13 mission. And there's the eagle holding an olive branch here and landing on the moon. Here's one of the craters. The eagle is a sign of power and strength in the United States. The olive branch is a sign of peace. And over here on the right there, you can see an F and a G. And that's for Frank Gasparo, who was the engraver designer of these coins. And when you really make it bigger like this, you can actually see the olives on the olive branch. I don't think there actually was an eagle bird that landed on the moon, but the phrase "the eagle has landed" was used when the first U.S. astronauts landed on the moon. All right. So I say they only made 2 million of these, of each, the Philly and Denver, in 1973, and they only made 2.7 million of the S's. How many did they make the other years? Well, in 1971, when it first came out, in 1971, they made, let me look again because it's just weird, 48 million of the Phillies, 68.5 million of the Denvers. In 1972, they made 76 million of the Phillies, 92.5 million of the Denvers. So by the time they hit 1973, and they were hoping that people would use these Eisenhower dollars, but they weren't. And we've all heard that stuff about the Susan B. dollars not getting used. Well, the Ikes weren't used either. These are big, heavy coins. This is enough to tear a hole in your pocket. So when we're talking about these coins, they're 22.68 grams, 38.1 millimeters in diameter. They are a copper nickel clad copper. So if we tip them up a little bit, I'll show you one that's outside the plastic here. Here's the 71, one of the years they made all kinds of them, and there's the D there. We tip it up and we see it's a copper nickel clad copper. Some kind of nice copper nickel cladding on here. Hard to get a good view of it. And it's obviously the rimmed all the way around. So this is the 1971D. This is so heavy and so big. Compare it to a current quarter. And there's the Arches quarter from 2014, and we see that it just dwarfs it. And there's Washington, there's Dwight. So there's a reason they only made them for 8 years. There's a reason that the 1973s are so rare. And that's because they tried to get people to use them. People didn't use them. So by 1973, they said, hey, let's hold up a bit. Well, something weird happened in 1973, and that is when they held up a bit, people hoarded them and bought them because they found out there's only going to be a few million of them made. And so then in 1974, they said, bump it up again, and they made 64 million of the different mints. All right, well, so there's the back. There's the front. And look for these, free. You often see them free like this, and a lot of times you can get them for $1, $1.15, $1.20, $1.50. I'd buy almost every one I could for $1.50 just because they are going to get harder to get, and people just don't like, you can get them cheap now. All right, so that's all we have from BC Coinwell International Coin Channel. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you might have in the comment section.